In this video, I'm going to answer not only one of the most frequently asked, but also one of the most important questions in all of retirement planning. What a bold statement. How much is enough to retire comfortably? Now, unfortunately, asking this question can in itself throw up some massive curveballs because the economy is constantly changing, as is the world, as are the way that pensions and taxes work, and in fact, as is the biggest uncertainty, you. So even if you think you know how much is enough to retire comfortably right now, there's a very good chance that if you aren't up to date on what is going on in the world and your own changing perspectives on your future, your retirement could end up being a real challenge instead of a time filled with family, fun and frolics and new exciting adventures. So by the end of this video, you'll know how to actually calculate how much is enough for you, how to build the savings you need to reach that number and retire, and finally, all the key tax and pension changes that are happening right now. First things first, we have to define what enough actually looks like, because retirement planning isn't about picking a magical number, and there's no set number that works for everyone anyway. It's about aligning your income and your expenses. The goal is to generate enough income from pensions, savings, investments, and your other assets to sustain you throughout your retirement. But the thing is, most people experience a drop in income after retiring, and the biggest issue is that expenses may not decrease quite as much as you might expect. Now, many people underestimate how much they'll need, assuming the state pension will cover everything, which it absolutely will not. Inflation, longer life expectancy, and unexpected costs such as healthcare, home repairs, and supporting your family, which actually never ends really, can completely derail your retirement plans, and without a clear strategy, you may well outlive your savings. When planning for retirement in the UK, it's absolutely essential to consider all potential income sources to ensure your financial stability, and your income may come from a combination of the following. State pension. Well, if you've made enough national insurance contributions, you'll be eligible for the full state pension, and as of 2025, April the 6th, that's set to rise to £230.25p a week, which is £11,973 a year, and it's typically currently available from age 67. You might have a defined benefit scheme. These are often called final salary pensions. If you've worked for employers who offered DB schemes, these could provide a secure, guaranteed income for life, and that's often linked to inflation, although other options are usually available. These pensions are becoming less and less common, but can be a really valuable source of retirement income. Then you've got personal and workplace pensions or investment-based pensions, and these are generally referred to as defined contribution pensions. Over your working life, you may have contributed to workplace pensions or private pensions plans. The value of these pensions depends very much on investment growth, your contributions, perhaps your employer's contributions, and of course the charges that are taking within those pensions. You can typically access these from age 55, that's rising to 57 in 2028, and there are usually a number of options available with those schemes, such as drawdown, annuity purchase, and also lump sum withdrawals, some of which ought to be tax-free. And then you've got general investments and savings other than pensions. Now, many retirees do supplement and should supplement their income with savings and investments. Things like ISAs, individual savings accounts, you've got stocks and shares, you've got bonds and fixed interest securities. Now, these can provide tax-efficient income depending on how they're structured. Let's talk a bit about rental income or part-time work. Lots of individuals do own rental properties, either one or several, and these can generate additional income in retirement. Others might choose to work part-time to stay active and supplement their pension income and put less pressure on their savings and investments. And last but not least, there's your own home. Now, lots of people plow their money into their homes, and why not? You spend so much time there, and that's often stretching themselves to do so, particularly earlier in their lives. It's a really important asset, and it can also come into play at some point in retirement. That's either by downsizing or equity release. Your overarching goal here is to ensure that these income sources are greater than or equal to your expected expenses. But that still begs the question, how much income do you really need in retirement? The short answer, there's no universal number. That probably doesn't surprise you. Your retirement savings target depends on the lifestyle you want. Everyone's definition of a comfortable retirement does, of course, vary, but research from the Retirement Living Standards identifies 3 general spending categories for retirees in the UK. A minimal lifestyle requires £14,400 per year. That'll cover the basics, but you'll not get a great deal of flexibility in there, and you really would have to watch your budget every month. A moderate lifestyle, they suggest, requires £31,300 a year. That'll give you some luxuries, a bit of travel, a bit of dining out, a bit of fun and frolics. And a comfortable lifestyle requires £43,100 per year. That'll give you a lot more financial freedom, frequent travel, get to do all your lovely hobbies. Now, in all 3 of these lifestyles, many people do underestimate their future expenses. They often assume that the state pension, as I've said previously, which is set to rise to almost 12 grand a year in 2025, it'll be enough to cover everything, including medical bills, home maintenance, and potential care costs. However, inflation gradually erodes the value of money, and that means that what feels comfortable today could become significantly more expensive in 20 to 30 years. Now, without proper planning, you may find yourself having to make drastic cutbacks in later life, and we need to try and avoid that. So how do you take control of your retirement planning? Here's a simple 3-step approach to get you started. Step 1 is define your target lifestyle. Decide which retirement tier you want to aim for, whether that's basic, moderate, or comfortable. Step 2 is add up your guaranteed income. That includes your state pension, plus any other reliable income or rental income or defined benefit schemes that you may have coming into play. Step 3 is calculate the gap and bridge it. The difference between your expected expenses and guaranteed income is what you'll need to cover using your investment-based pensions, savings and investments, or potentially by downsizing if you're prepared to do that. But that is usually left until much later in life, but it will feature and can feature, so you need to build it in if it's something you're prepared to do. For example, if you're aiming for a moderate lifestyle, which, as I said earlier, 31,000-ish a year, but your state pension and rental income or DB income covers 15 grand a year, then you're going to need to generate £16,300 a year from elsewhere, personal savings and investments. For the other 2 tiers, basic or comfortable, just run the numbers for yourself to see how much you'll need to bridge the gap. The key is to plan ahead so you're financially secure and you can enjoy your retirement without unnecessary stress. But if you're a little unsure about what sources of income you might have or what your pensions might look like, and provide that's completely normal, and in reality very few people are completely certain about the finances of their retirement anyway, which of course is why we exist. On that note, I'd love to offer you a completely free call to help you assess your own personal retirement situation and plan your finances properly. That'll ensure you feel confident about your future. Now, these reviews usually cost us about 800 quid to deliver, but we've always provided them completely free because we believe there should be absolutely no barriers to taking the first steps towards a better retirement. So if you're looking into retirement and you think you need a little bit of help and encouragement planning out your finances, go to the description and click the first link you see there to book in that call and get yourself on track to retire comfortably. So knowing how much you need is of course a brilliant start, but the real question is, how do you actually get there? Well, the short answer, your retirement savings will come from a mix of pensions, ISAs and whatever other investments you've built up over time. The sooner you start, the easier it is to reach that target. Relying only on the state pension just won't be enough for most people. Without proper thought and good planning, you may have to work longer than expected or reduce spending in retirement, or watch as inflation and tax erode your wealth before your very eyes. But fear not, with the right approach, you can make sure your money lasts and works as hard for you as you did to earn it. Here's what I recommend to set yourself up for a more secure and comfortable retirement. Number 1, maximize your pension contributions. Now, if your employer offers a pension contribution match, make sure you're contributing enough to get the full benefit of that, because it's essentially free money. Even beyond the match, much. Increasing your contributions early can have a huge impact due to compound growth and time, because your money earns returns on both your original contributions and previous gains. For example, if you start investing £200 a month at age 30, assuming a modest 5% annual return, you could have around £150,000 by the age 67. But if you wait until 40, the total drops to around £85,000, showing why starting early really does matter. Number 2, use ISAs for tax-efficient growth. Now, an ISA, an individual savings account, allows your investments to grow completely tax-free, meaning you don't pay any capital gains tax or income tax on any withdrawals or on the growth whilst it's building. There are different types, but for retirement planning longer term, stocks and shares ISA can be great, whereas a cash ISA is likely to deliver less growth over time, but it is a great home for shorter term savings or, in particular, emergency funds. Now, the annual ISA allowance for 24-25 is £20,000, so using this efficiently can help maximise your retirement savings. Number 3 is investing wisely for growth and long-term security. Your investment strategy does need to be flexible, and potentially it might change over time. And I say potentially because everybody's completely different. There's no one size fits all when it comes to investing. But you do need to educate yourselves as to what risk really does mean, so that your strategy can really match how you feel. Younger investors can typically be more adventurous when investing, taking on more risk. For example, investing in a higher percentage in more volatile assets, things like stocks and shares, for potentially higher returns, because they've got time to recover from any market downturns in the short term. Now, as retirement approaches, it might make sense to shift at least some of your investments into lower risk assets, things like bonds, fixed interest securities, perhaps dividend stocks, and cash reserves, because that will help to protect your wealth, or a proportion of it. But, and it is a big but, you must always look ahead and think how long you've got when it comes to investing. I come across loads of people approaching retirement at say 60 and talking about taking out their 25% tax-free cash and sticking it in cash, when in reality they've got 30 years of investing ahead of them. That's still a long time. And similarly, reducing your risk profile unnecessarily or without a proper understanding of the implications might be one of the biggest blunders you make. Believe me. Number 4 is starting late. Don't panic, because small changes still matter. If you're in your 40s or your 50s and you haven't saved as much as you'd like yet, it's not too late. Even small increases in contributions can make a big difference. My top tips include cutting unnecessary expenses and redirecting that money into savings. You might want to consider delaying retirement by a few years to allow your investments to grow a little bit more. Or you can phase your retirement by going part-time rather than stopping completely. Number 5 is regularly review and adjust your plan. Life does change. We're probably all saying that. So should your retirement strategy. At least once a year, you must check, are you still on track for your target retirement date and income? Has your salary increased? If so, can you increase your pension contributions? Are your investments aligned with your risk tolerance and time horizon? Have tax rules changed? Adjust your strategy to stay tax efficient, because the tax rules change all the time. Now, retirement planning isn't a one-time task, it's an ongoing process. So by taking these particular steps now, you'll have a far greater chance of building a secure and comfortable retirement if you focus on it. By doing those things, you'll be setting yourself up for a lifetime of success and a much more comfortable retirement, which is what we want for you. Now, finally, big changes are coming to pensions in 2025, so staying informed is a key bit of your retirement planning. The state pension, it's going to rise by 4.1% in April 2025, with the full new state pension reaching £230.25 English pence per week, which is £11,973 a year. However, as the state pension nears the £12,570 personal income tax allowance threshold, more people could face tax implications in the future. If you've got gaps in your national insurance record, you have until the 5th of April 2025 to fill them for years as far back as 2006. But after that date, you'll still be able to top up missing years, but only for the last 6 years instead of that much longer period currently allowed. So taking action this tax year is really important. Pensions dashboards, I don't know if you've heard of them. Obviously we have, but these are on the way. These allow savers to view all their pensions in one place if everybody signs up for it in the way they're meant to. By April 2025, the UK's largest pension providers must connect, with the full launch expected by 2027. This will make everybody's lives a lot easier. Now, the Pension Schemes Bill will also introduce defined contribution DC schemed mega funds that consolidate smaller schemes to create larger funds that can invest more in UK infrastructure. Of course, with that comes some worry about potential government influence on pension investments and maybe poorer returns. So we've just got to keep a really close eye on what's going on with the mega funds. Now, from April 2027, unspent pensions will be included in inheritance tax calculations. Well, I say will, that's assuming that the legislation gets through, but that will increase taxes on beneficiaries, and it'll add an extra layer of complexity when it comes to planning to leave your money to other people. The Financial Conduct Authority, which we affectionately call the FCA, is consulting on ways to improve pension guidance with proposals for targeted support for retirees. Now, this consultation ended on the 13th of February, just gone, with further updates expected later this year. There's also a push to make pension transfers far quicker. Regulators are working to speed up the process, making it easier to move pensions to better or alternative providers. Lastly, pension scams are a growing risk as digital tools increase. Fraudsters may well target savers through initiatives like pension dashboards, and there's a crackdown underway on unqualified finfluencers pushing misleading advice, because that needs to stop. These changes are important for your retirement planning, so staying informed and proactive is essential. Now, throughout this video, we've been focusing on how much you need to retire comfortably, but we haven't really touched on when you can actually retire. And here's the thing, it might be a lot sooner than you think. Believe it or not, there are just 5 key questions that, if you can honestly answer yes to, could mean you're ready to retire right now. So make sure you check out the next video where we'll walk you through those 5 questions and what it means to answer yes. We're going to dive into how you can figure out whether retiring right now is the right move for you and what is possible. And I'll see you there.